Good morning, land of YouTube. So I'm here at the tail end of my walk almost with a smoothie from the Grateful Bagel. And I have to correct what I said the other day in my video stating it was 3 Leaves Food. That's the adjacent building. My sandwich, the avocado toast, came from the Grateful Bagel, not 3 Leaves Food. And anyways, I'm walking down the path really close to home. There's a airstrip out here, a runway that is kind of really not used. It's an emergency airstrip, otherwise it would have probably been demolished by now. I used to come out here and fuck around when I was younger. I would 4-wheel drive through a ditch back in the back because there's a pretty deep ditch. And I would get out on the runway at night, turn off the lights, hit about 95, 100 miles an hour, and scare the shit out of all my passengers because we were just pinned, going as fast as my truck would go with the governor. And then I'd turn on the lights at the last second, and one of those times, for instance, was pretty fun. It was a wild ride. We hit the end of the runway on accident before I could stop, and we were doing about 55, 60 into a bumpy, grassy, slippery terrain, and we all flew inside, and we were bouncing around, and I didn't crash or roll or anything. I was very good at correcting it in the uncontrolled event of hitting the slippery grass and shit. And anyways, I wanted to point out something funny because they have a sign here. It says no trespassing, right? And then back in the back corner, right there, well, let me see, right there is another sign that says beware of rattlesnakes. So if the private property no trespassing doesn't keep you out, then there's another fence behind there. then you have, and this is really redundantly stupid actually, because there's 2 fences right here, but there's one over there with no barbed wire. I'm gonna walk over and show you. So what we have is stupidity at its finest, both ways. If you're dumb enough to get over the no trespassing part, and then there's another fence that says beware of rattlesnakes, and this is all just right in the front. And I consider it a front to begin with. It's just dumb. So what we have is overdoing shit for no reason right in the face value. We have 2 different barbed wire fences right here in the front, right? 2. And then you walk like, oh, there's another private property sign. Look, private property right there. No trespassing and shit. And there's a little path right here. This fence is still barbed wired, and then you get a little further, no barbed wire, and then 10 feet from 15, 20 feet back from the road, there's a little bit more razor wire right here at the corner, right? And some barbed wire, and then you have this whole easy to hop over fence. It's like, what the fuck were they thinking? Why all the excessive aggressive overkill to hide a fucking runway? It's a concrete slab out in the middle of the fucking field. I mean, what the literal fuck? Oh, and then people are gonna be afraid of rattlesnakes, right? I mean, if you hear a rattlesnake, it's trying to warn you, and you got too close to it. I would either identify it so you can move the opposite way quick when you do decide to move, and or just really slowly go backwards the way you came. Because if you're not a threat to a rattlesnake, I don't think it's really going to try to eat you. I mean, it knows it can't fit you down its throat. An anaconda, different story. That motherfucker's going to try to eat your ass, because the whole cliche metaphor with, the snake sizing up its fucking owner, preparing on a fast to eat its owner. And then you have the other cliche thing about snakes being snakes and their true nature. And then there's a metaphor about snakes being ancient and never dying if they're unharmed in battle. And then there's also the Harry Potter metaphor of a basilisk, which is like that fucking giant goddamn ancient snake. And then they ended up killing it, I think, didn't they? And anyways, the basilisk venom was something cool. There's all kinds of metaphorical shit that we can dive into as human beings. And I think that's the freedom that we have. to think, or to think into things. And then if we're really, really deeply thinking into things, are we just not birthing life into existence through thought and expression? Well, let me know. As always, bring in the light. I love you all, and be good.